The fastest way to make a RAG system look smart is also the fastest way to fool yourself.
Exactly. If your retriever only wins inst easy junk, you are measuring comfort, not capability.
So let's name the thing. What is hard negative mining, and why do RAG builders keep hearing about it?
A hard negative is a result that looks relevant to the query, but is actually the wrong document or chunk. Hard negative mining means deliberately finding those tricky near misses and using them to test or train retrieval.
So not random bad results, not obvious garbage. We are talking about documents that could fool a ranker.
Right. Think of 2 pages in your knowledge base. One explains your refund policy for annual plans. The other explains cancellations for monthly plans. A user asks about getting money back after canceling an annual subscription. The monthly page shares a lot of words, so a weak retriever may rank it high, even though it gives the wrong answer path.
And if you never include that monthly page as a negative, your metrics can look amazing, while the product quietly gives wrong answers.
That is the core risk. Easy negatives tell you whether your system can separate signal from noise. Hard negatives tell you whether it can separate truth from a plausible distraction.
Why does that matter so much in retrieval training or evaluation for RAG?
Because generation only gets a chance to be correct if retrieval sets the table correctly. If the top results are subtly wrong, the model can sound confident, cite the wrong chunk, and still fail the user. Hard negatives expose that weak ranking before users do.
So, this is where the power shifts. The winner is not the system that finds something related. It is the one that can reject seductive mistakes.
Yes. In practice, many retrievers look good on broad recall tests because they can surface topical documents. But production failures often come from confusion among similar documents. The old version versus the new one. Policy A versus Policy B. API v1 versus API v2.
Give me a programmer example, not an abstract benchmark one.
Imagine your docs have 2 endpoints, create invoice and preview invoice. A developer asks, how do I generate a final bill and send it to accounting? The preview endpoint doc shares invoice, amount, line items, and response schema, so it feels relevant, but it does not actually create the bill. That preview doc is a perfect hard negative. If your retriever ranks it above the create doc, your RAG assistant may generate code that never posts a real invoice.
That is brutal, because the answer can look clean, compile, and still be operationally wrong.
Exactly. Hard negatives expose the difference between lexical overlap and task relevance.
How do they reveal weak rankings specifically? What do they show that easy negatives do not?
Easy negatives mostly test whether your retriever understands broad topic boundaries. Hard negatives test ordering inside a narrow neighborhood. They ask, among 5 documents that all mention invoices, can you put the one that truly answers the intent at the top? That is where ranking weakness shows up.
So, if my eval set is full of random, unrelated pages, I might only learn that my retriever is not completely asleep.
Pretty much. A weak eval can reward shallow matching. A stronger eval adds nearest rivals, same product area, same entities, same vocabulary, maybe even the same examples, but one key detail makes them wrong. Those are the tests that separate a decent demo from a dependable system.
Let's make that concrete again. Say I run support search for a SaaS product.
Then, a good hard negative set might include old policy pages, region-specific policy pages, and admin-only instructions when the user is an end customer. If someone asks, can EU users export audit logs on the starter plan, the dangerous negatives are pages about US accounts, enterprise plans, or older export rules. They are not nonsense. They are believable enough to trigger bad retrieval and bad answers.
And this changes behavior in eval, right? Scores usually drop.
Yes, and that drop is healthy. It means your benchmark stopped being polite. With hard negatives, top 1 accuracy, MRR, or hit rate at small k become more honest, because the retriever must earn its place against lookalikes rather than cruise past random clutter.
There is also a strategy angle here. Teams that skip this can ship faster, but they may be shipping confidence theater.
That is a fair way to put it. If your assistant works only when the alternative documents are obviously wrong, Competitors with stronger retrieval will beat you exactly where users care most: ambiguous, high-value questions with costly failure modes.
So, what is one practical way a programmer can start using hard negatives without turning this into a giant ML project?
Start with failed or risky queries from logs. For each good answer document, collect 2 or 3 near-miss chunks from the same section, neighboring versions, or semantically similar pages. Then use those in eval. Ask a simple question: does the correct chunk still rank above the tempting wrong ones? If not, you found a real weakness.
That sounds less like academic tuning and more like pressure testing with realistic decoys.
Exactly. You are not making the task artificially hard. You are making it production-shaped.
And once you see those misses, you can improve chunking, metadata filters, query rewriting, or your retriever itself. But the key is that now you know where the system lies to you.
That is the payoff. Hard negative mining turns retrieval from a vanity metric game into an honesty test.
And in RAG, the system that survives the honest test is the one users trust when the question gets dangerous.